Hey folks, I thought I'd do a short video on tips, tricks, and tools you'll need to replace your O2 sensors in an F-150 with their 3.5 echoboost. Now, most of these will also apply to pretty much any car, but seeing as I just changed these out in my F-150, a 2011 by the way, I figured I'd give some guidance because I did watch a few videos because I had never changed my O2 sensors out in a vehicle because most of my vehicles didn't actually have them in the previous. So at 100, I've got 140,000 miles. I should have changed it last year when I saw a slight change in fuel economy, as well as my idling had a little bit of variation to it. So anyway, I finally got around to changing them out. And I'd recommend when you change out your O2 sensors, you change out all four. You have to change out them in pairs, the upper and the lower, but honestly, while you're in there, it's smarter to go ahead and replace all four and replace them with a quality brand. Now, I used Denso, but Denso, NGK, or Motorcraft is what I would recommend because Denso and NGK actually make the O2 sensors for Ford. So yeah, you don't want to go cheap on this because contrary to what you might read or see on YouTube, this is not an easy job. If everything goes like absolutely perfect to plan, you're going to spend 2 hours. If things go south, you're looking at about 4 hours. And it only takes one bolt, or in this case, an oxygen sensor, to really make things hard. You just one stuck, and it's going to be problematic. So I'm going to kind of go over the tools you'll need and kind of the order you use them. To get access to the bottom of your truck, you got to remove the panel, and which has those little slide, the quarter turn or actually half turn little tabs that that release the fiberglass wind deflector underneath. And I normally use a pair of needle nose pliers. You'll need these also for cutting your lines, and I'll get it back to that in a second. I recommend everybody get a kit like this one. These are not expensive. It was $20 on Amazon. Most people sell this. Well, this is probably not going to do you much good in the location as tight as you've only got about 3 inches to work on those upper oxygen sensors. But it has these other units that actually work pretty cool because this takes a 1/2 inch. And this smaller one takes a 3/4. Now, finding a 3/4 breaker bar is really hard to do. You can use a wrench. I didn't wind up using this one mainly because this one gives you a little more flexibility. You see how it's a, let me make sure I'm in frame here. It's a star head, whereas this one's a square head. The square head is fine, but the star head gives you a lot more flexibility as and there went my torque wrench, as to where you can locate it. So that's really important in this scenario. See where see if I can retrieve my torque wrench. Always, when shooting a video, you know, stuff like that. Okay. All right. I'm back in good shape. Okay, so you got your adapters. What I wound up using for this job, I use this one and I use this one. But if you were going to get by with just one adapter, it would be this one. Because the other thing this has the ability to do is you can put your wrench, let me set this torque wrench down so it doesn't go where it's not supposed to go. Is the other thing that this can be useful for is you can put it underneath. You can clip it in like so, which is what you'll have to do with some of these. And now it's not perfect, it's at an angle, but it's enough to grip. So, because these upper bank ones are really in a tight spot. So, like I said, you've got about 3 inches to access. The other tools you'll need for when this just won't work is a 7/8 open-end wrench. To access it, since you're going to have to cut your wire, which is not a problem. You know, you'll cut your wire and leave some tail on it. So, like you can see where I cut this one, they were grouped, and while you're working, you just slip your open-end wrench around the wires and then come down through and get access to it. To get the torque you need to break this, you can do this little trick with an open-end wrench, like so. Actually, right like that. Slip your round head in and you can get a lot of torque, and it's not going to slip off. I know some people like to do it this way, but you're going to find they slip off real easy. If you do it with this round head in like so, you can lock in, and then you've got plenty of leverage. So the worst advice I saw on removing these was to heat up the engine and then try to remove it. Now the heat will help, but that is really bad advice. You're just asking to be burned, because you're in a really tight area, and trying to work around a hot muffler is just crazy. The other problem with that is when you're putting in your new ones, you've got to worry about your brand new lines touching that hot exhaust. So if you run into a problem where it just won't budge, then that brings me to the other tool you'll need, which is a propane torch. You can heat just the O2 unit. I had one out of these 4 that was stuck and just would not budge, so I heated it and it broke free. Hopefully you won't need this. This is just an emergency. The good news is, you know, it's in an area that's pretty much heat shielded, so it's not it's not dangerous to use a propane torch if you're heating those O2 sensors, because there's nothing in the way. It's around a hot exhaust anyway. Other tool you'll need, so the two lower, meaning post, or actually they're installed in the catalytic converters, those have tabs. Those unplug pretty straightforward. But the 2 upper, and one is connected right in the back, right way over, right there in the back, and it actually has the anchoring tabs on it. They do that, I guess, so you don't mix up the lower and the upper. Those upper O2 sensors, this is a booger to remove, so you'll need one of these little cheap tools. It's a trim removal tool. You can get in there and pry that thing out. If you don't have one of these, you can make do with a screwdriver. That will work as well. But these work much better than a screwdriver. So, okay, other tip. So, which brings us to one of our last tools we'll need, is a piece of rope. Is after you unplug your top sensor, this is the only one you'll need to do this, but after you unplug your top sensor, tie a rope to the plug, and then you can pull it down and bring your rope all the way down, and it'll follow the exact path of the existing the existing unit, so you don't have to worry about getting it in the wrong place. And once you get that line cut, just leave the rope off to the side. You know, I had one tied in. This is if you're running solo, but also it just makes it easy. And then once you get your new O2 sensor installed, you can pull up the tail and plug it in up top. The last thing, so I was not successful. There was not room to get a torque wrench on the two upper. The two lower, yes. So for the F-150, they prescribe 35 foot-pounds. So I set my clicker, and you want to use a clicker. You don't want to be underneath there trying to read a digital. Set this for 35 pounds and got my two that are installed in the catalytic converters. Got those installed, no problem. Clicked in and then plugged in. So they're pretty straightforward. Those two are pretty easy to do. The other two, there is just not room on any plant to get a torque wrench. So they got torqued in with this part of the wrench, the open end, and just got it as reasonably tight as I could. And believe me, 35 foot-pounds is not too bad. I'm sure I probably torqued mine to 50 foot-pounds. The last thing you want to make sure you do is when you're installing this, Denso comes with bronze anti-seize. Make sure you coat these with anti-seize. And if you see a bunch of corrosion around these threads or something, the nice thing about that kit is you can run these. You should not need to, but if you do, make sure you put some bronze anti-seize just so you can lubricate the threads while you're dressing. All this is a thread dresser. So anyway, oops, I forgot the last step. After you get all your oxygen sensors, you'll need to drain or clear the memory on your ECU. That's pretty straightforward. All you need is to remove your negative battery terminal and set it off to the side. If it doesn't want to set off to the side, if it wants to come back, then put a piece of cardboard or an insulator so that the battery does not make contact with that negative. And then you just run a jumper. You hook it to the positive side of the battery and hook it to the wire harness section, not the battery post terminal, the wire harness. And what that will do is that will drain your ECU, and you need to leave it on for about 10 minutes, and then you can disconnect it and then connect everything back up. Once you've done that, then you need to let the truck relearn itself. So start the truck and let it idle for 10 minutes, and then take it for once you've done idling for 10 minutes, you should, take it for like a 30-minute drive or something, and be easy on it. Don't do anything crazy. Kind of drive it nice and soft, and the computer will relearn what it needs. Myself, I got an immediate boost of over 1 mile per gallon in fuel economy after my new oxygen sensors, because one of them was definitely giving false readings, and the system was basically making the truck run too rich. So anyway, we'll try this again. Hope you liked the video. I apologize again for not actually showing you me underneath the truck saying a few bad words because, like I said, not an easy job. But if you got time, pick a better time than July. Try and do it in the fall if you need to change them out, and it'll work just fine. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe.